Namaste, everybody. I'm Tamal Dodge. This is Hallie. We're going to do another session of Yoga for Absolute Beginners. We're going to begin standing today at the very back of your yoga mat. I want you to have your legs hips width apart to start with, so not the traditional big toes touching version of Tadasana mountain pose, but a slightly staggered stance. Then if you have a medium-sized rolled up towel or a block to have handy for today's practice, that'll be useful. Also, if you have a large book, like a dictionary, would be very helpful. We're going to take your block or rolled up towel and we're going to wedge it between the inner thighs. Now, start off with just looking at your feet and make sure you're finding the weight in all four corners. That means the two front corners of your feet and the two back corners of your feet. We're very prone to dumping a weight either in the heels, letting our butt stick out behind us, or doing the opposite. The weight goes in the front part of the feet, our hips sway forward, and we dump into the low back. So we're looking for this vertical line, straight up and down. Then from there, I want you to softly bend in the knees. What I mean there is there's this microscopic bend there that looks like the legs are straight, but they're not. You can feel the difference. And then we start squeezing the block with the inner thighs. The tailbone starts to drop down. It scoops under, so the frontal hip points start to lift. Every exhale, you pull in your pelvic floor or a Kegel Mula Bandha, and then you draw on your stomach, lift your chest. That's called Uddiyana Bandha. So every time you're exhaling, you're pulling in your pelvic floor and your belly. It's like that Kegel exercise. A good metaphor is you're peeing, someone walks in on you when you're peeing, and you go, oh my God, and use those muscles to stop yourself from peeing. That's what you're doing with every exhale. It's those invisible muscles that are very important for our longevity. Notice if your head is hanging forward, that's anterior head carriage. I like to call it social media head carriage. You tuck your chin in, so the deep neck flexors, the muscles built at the front of the cervical spine, start to fire, and the back of the neck gets longer. You can either have your palms facing each other or they can face forward and then start to glide your shoulder blades down the back and then into the back. Perfect. And people go, why do you always break down Tadasana? Why are we always going over this mountain pose? Because this standing posture, if you get good at all the little anatomy cues here, you can translate that into every other pose. Because Tadasana is the blueprint of everything, whether it's a warrior two, whether it's a handstand, this is the model for it. Now, while you're here, let's reach your arms up to the sky. Pause. Whenever your arms reach up, it's called Urdhva Hastasana, upward raising arms, upward raising hands. Think about your arms getting straighter and longer, so the skin of your side body stretches, but then your shoulders get softer. Then you take your upper outer arms, the outer triceps, and you wrap those forward so that your pinkies start to angle inward a little bit. Something very common that happens here is your arms are too wide. I want you to get your arms closer so that your biceps rest about an inch, maybe an inch and a half away from the cheekbones. And all of a sudden you're like, well, this is really hard. My arms are getting really heavy. I'm just standing here. Take a big inhale. Then exhale, relax your arms by your sides. Take a moment here. Keep the block. It's going to get better. Again, inhale, reach your arms up, Urdhva Hastasana, pause. I want you to put the weight in your right foot. Keep squeezing the block, and then bend your left leg behind you. If you feel really off balance, that's great. I want you to get heavier in your right big toe. The heavier you get in that right big toe, the more you're going to find balance. And that's a key component for other postures that are like warrior threes, standing splits, of where to put your weight according to the designated posture we're in. Strengthening the adductors by keeping that inner thigh engagement. The front ribs are still going in, the arms are getting straighter, the shoulders are getting softer. Keep your arms lifted, switch sides, left foot down, pause, weight goes in the left foot, bend your right leg behind you. It's like we're playing a very complicated version of Simon Says. Perfect. See if you can breathe a little deeper. Keep what you have, set your right foot down. Both legs lift. Just kidding, don't do that. Gotta have a little joke. Relax your arms, relax your shoulders. I'll take the block. Perfect. Okay, so now Hallie's gonna step her right foot forward. Left foot way back. She's gonna take her hands to her hips, soften the back leg, and start to manually scoop your tailbone under. As her tailbone goes under, that's that same posterior tilt that we did at standing. We just don't want to dump in our lower back. You always want to keep that low belly lift, that low belly engagement. Then she's also going to use her hands to steer her hips in the right direction. So the right hip pulls back, the left hip goes forward. Once we've managed all of that, you can take your hands to your front ribs. So it's like you're just framing them in. Now I want you to take your front ribs in and down a little bit, but then notice if your torso is starting to slouch. Think about lifting your heart. Keep all that. Now reach your arms up to the sky. And like we did earlier, the arms get straighter, the side waist gets longer, the triceps wrap forward, so the pinky sides of your hands get inward a little bit. They angle like that. And that's that external rotation. That micro external rotation is going to help clear out any of that excess congestion in your shoulder girdle. Take your hands to your hips. Your left foot is going to step next to your right foot at the front of your mats. Relax your arms by your sides. So we're going to run through a basic sun salutation with modifications along the way. Inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, fold your body forward with a flat back. Inhale, glance out. Either climb onto your fingers or you can slide your hands up your shin bones. Then exhale, step back to the top of a push-up and pause. So if you need to modify, you can always put your knees to the floor for extra support. Hallie, could you put your knees to the ground? Just like that. Otherwise, if you're with me, the knees stay lifted. You're going to lean way forward so that your shoulders go beyond your fingertips. Then you're going to lower all the way to your belly. Make sure your wrists are under your elbows. You can look at them and readjust accordingly. Inner thighs are going to spin up. That means your heels move away. Then inhale, lift your chest 6 inches off the ground for Cobra. Or those of you who've been practicing up dog with me, you can straighten your arms and lift your hips and thighs off the ground. So you're balancing on the tops of your feet and your palms for the deeper back bend. So 2 exits here. You can either go to all fours, your hands and knees, and find your way to down dog, or you can just go straight to down dog from here, just like Hallie did. Your call. From down dog, if you want to pedal the legs out a little bit, you can shift your weight side to side. We're just running through a sequence here. We'll get to that crescent in a moment. Let's take a big inhale through the nose, holding your breath at the top. Out of the mouth. Keep your feet where they are. Start walking your hands to your feet, to the back of your space. Once you're at the back of your space, take an inhale, glance out. Exhale, fold forward. Put a bend in your knees, roll all the way up to standing, vertebra by vertebra, disc by disc. So, let's step your left foot forward. Take your hands to your hips. Soften your back leg. Again, use your hands to scoop your tailbone down and under. Find the posterior tilt. Use the hands to additionally square the hips forward. Then from there, take your hands to your front ribs and brace them in. So as the front ribs go in, you'll notice your back ribs will lift up away from your kidneys, but then lift the heart, the sternum, so you're not slouching. Then reach your arms up to the sky. Arms get straighter, closer together. The triceps wrap forward. The chin tucks in a little bit. Remember, we don't want our head drooping forward. We want that anterior head carriage that we talked about in our mountain pose, our Tadasana earlier. Perfect. It's amazing how hard it is holding these poses with all that going on. But the beauty is you're retraining your body's muscle memory of how to hold your skeleton in these poses, clearing out any bad habits, tight areas. Take a big inhale. And then exhale, hands are going to come down to the ground. Actually, no, I changed my mind. Let's take your hands to your hips. Let's step to the front of your mat. Feet together. Relax your arms. Inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, fold your body forward. Inhale, glance out. Exhale, step back to plank. And again, you can do this from your knees if you like. Let's lean out and lower chaturanga. Inhale, back bend of your choice, whether that's a cobra or an upward dog. Then exit of your choice, whether that's all fours to down dog or you go straight into down dog. Your call. Let's take an inhale through your nose. Hold your breath at the very top. Out of the mouth. Keep your feet where they are. Walk your hands to your feet to the back of your space. Take an inhale and glance out. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, open your arms this time. Rise to standing. Circle your arms overhead. Palms kiss at the top. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, prayer in front of the heart. Relax your arms. Step your right foot forward. Soften the back leg. Take your hands to your hips. Scoop the tailbone under. Steer your hips forward. Hands brace the front ribs in. So we're doing all the same things that we did earlier. Chest lifts. Now take your book or block, widest side, frame it between the hands and reach your arms to the sky. It's amazing how a book or a block can start to feel like it's 100 pounds. You keep pressing your hands into the block or the book, stimulate the shoulders. Now we're going to attempt a very challenging pose here. But earlier, remember when we had the book between our legs, or the block between our legs, and we lifted one leg up and we put the weight in the big toe of your standing leg? We're going to have to put the weight in the big toe of the standing leg here. So hands come at heart center, keep holding the book or block. Lean forward. All the weight in that right big toe, the back foot's going to lift up for warrior three. If you start wobbling around, you want to emphasize more weight in that right big toe. That's your anchor. It's called warrior three, Virabhadrasana. Keep the left leg, the hovering leg, straight. The hips squaring towards the floor. And then on an inhale, stand up. And as you exhale, set the left foot next to right. I'll take the book or block. Relax the arms. Third, Sun Salutation. Inhale, reach to the sky. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, fold your body forward. Inhale, glance out. Exhale, step back to plank. And let's lower, either with knees on the floor or not. Back bend of your choice. Method of getting to down dog is up to you. And like always, keep your feet where they are. Walk your hands to your feet. Take an inhale and glance out. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, open your arms and rise to standing. It's like a reverse swan dive. Exhale, prayer in front of the heart. Relax your arms. Step your left foot forward. So you want your stance pretty wide, like 3.5, 4 feet apart. Hands come to the hips. We scoop the tail under. Hands come to the ribs. We knit them in. Sternum starts to lift and the arms lift up. You can take the block or book between the hands and frame it the widest side. We soften the shoulders down. We tuck the chin in and we let the legs just cook a little bit. It's like we took your hamstrings, quads, and glute muscles, turn on the oven to 450 for 10 minutes. People go, what are you baking? Bacon legs. Now, all these sessions are about building not only body awareness and learning fundamentals, but also building physical attributes, right? So that we can move further in our practice and get more advanced. So we take the block or the book to our heart center. We lean forward all the way in the left big toe. Right foot lifts. If you're hopping around like you're on coals, that means we haven't anchored enough weight in that left big toe. We extend back through the right leg. So the right leg gets straighter. The hips are squaring. Let's inhale, stand up. Exhale, set the right foot next to left. I'll take the block. If you're at home, you can just chuck the block. Inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, glance out. Exhale, step back to plank. And let's lower through your vinyasa. That means chaturanga, back bend of your choice, downward facing dog. How you get there is totally up to you. Let's lower your knees to the ground, cross one ankle over the other, sit behind your feet, swoop your legs through. So scoot forward, let's lay on your back. Once you're on your back, hug the knees into your chest. We'll take a happy baby, so your arms go split between your legs. You can either hold onto your hamstrings, and you hold onto your hamstrings for them, which is a modification, or you can hold onto your outer ankles, or you can hold onto the outer edges of your feet. Your choice. If your butt is lifting off the ground, you want to sink the sacrum to the floor. If your low back is bubbling up, you want to draw on your belly to descend that lumbar down. If you're concaving in your chest, plug the shoulder blades into the upper back so you widen your sternum and collarbones, and you can sink the back of the shoulder, the posterior deltoid, down. If your chin is lifted and you're kind of creating an exaggerated curve in the cervical spine, tuck your chin in a bit so that you can rest the back of your skull on the mat. Then you press the inner feet towards the sky and you pull the outer feet towards the earth. Hug your knees to your chest. Let's release your left leg out, only hug the right knee in. Send your right arm out to the right, palm up. If you turn your palm down, you internally rotate in the shoulder and it becomes a little straining, so you want the palm facing up. Look to your right and then twist the right knee across your body to the left. And just like Hallie did, you can always scoot that left hip to the right a little bit, and that's going to help you get a deeper sensation and stretch in your lower back. Let me switch sides. Hug the left knee into your chest. Hug both knees into your chest. Place your forehead onto your knees. Let's take a very big inhale and hold your breath at the top. Squeeze everything, all tension, all stress into one tight little ball. And then let it all go. Sprawl open. So if you have a rolled up towel, it's always nice to take the towel and place it underneath the knees, and that's going to take any tension out of the lower back. Have the palms facing up. The eyes are closed. The breath is deep. I encourage you for the next 2 to 5 minutes to lay here without fidgeting, without moving, giving yourself the opportunity to recoup any lost energy. Shavasana is such a restorative pose that repairs the physical strain we get from our daily life, as well as the restoration of our mind. So take full advantage of it. I thank you for practicing with me today. This was another session of Yoga for Absolute Beginners. I'm Tamal. I'll see you next time.